Okay, this is going to be video number 6 in this series. We're going to start out in video 6 here by discussing the fundamentals of sight alignment, and if I have any time left, we'll discuss the operation of the trigger and go from there. So we'll see what our time runs like. The first thing is I want to show you is that the sights on my weapon here are what's called night sights. See the somewhat white paint there on the front and the back sight there. Now, night sights are just a little bit extra when you go to buy your weapon. Sometimes they charge you extra for them, sometimes they don't. They're worth having for the simple reason that night sights work better in the daytime than daytime sights work at night. So go ahead and have them if you have any choice about it at all. Now, the next thing here I'm going to show you is a sight pattern. This very crude drawing here represents what you'll see when looking at your sight at center mass. This, of course, is the back sight. That's the front sight. You'll note here that the front sight should be even on both sides of the rear sight. You shouldn't see any more of one side than you do the other. It should be perfectly centered. This top here should be perfectly level with this, so you don't shoot high or low. So that's basically what you'll want to see when you sight in here. Now, something about sighting in that not everybody knows about. Now, when you sight in, you want to concentrate real hard on the front sight. That's what you want to see. In fact, as you become proficient at shooting, the front sight will tend to be in real sharp focus. The rear sight and the target will blur somewhat. So you'll focus mostly on the front sight. Now, as the target tends to be further away from you, the front sight will tend to be in sharper focus. If the target is real close to you and it's right on top of you, like is often going to occur in a home combat situation, the front sight will not be in just quite as sharp a focus, and you know, it's all going to go down that way. So you'll get to, so after a while you'll achieve an almost zen-like state as the front sight comes into real sharp focus and the rear sight and the target blur. So that's what you're looking for on the sight. Let's see. Okay, I hit that. I want to explain one more thing about prescription glasses here, because I was shooting with prescription glasses for some time during 4-day handgun, and later on, before I realized this, I bought a pair of really expensive prescription sunglasses with the wraparound feature to protect my eyes and stuff. And I noticed it a little bit later, when you have prescription glasses, sometimes they're prescription for distance and driving and stuff like mine are. Now, if they're prescription for distance, what this tends to do is you won't see the front sight as sharply. You won't be as in sharp a focus as the distance will. So as a result, when you're looking at the front sight with prescriptions sometime, it'll tend to be blurry. The other thing about shooting with prescription glasses is, if you're in the middle of a home invasion at 3 a.m., you're not likely to have time to retrieve your glasses and put them on before you start shooting. So that's just a little downside of shooting with prescription glasses. Unless your eyes are real bad and you just absolutely can't see anything without your prescriptions, you're probably better off to shoot without them. So, okay, that takes care of that. And I'm 4 minutes into this. So the next fundamental I want to discuss is the operation of the trigger. Now, it's not rocket science or anything like that, but there are a few basics that you need to be aware of and practice. Okay, the first thing is, let's see, that's about right. I think I can get right on top of it here. The first thing is, It's not a trigger pull, it's not a trigger squeeze, it's a trigger press. The Glock trigger, as I stated before, is single action. It has a trigger release here, which I guess acts as a safety, but in going to press the trigger, you press the trigger release. The trigger comes back to about here, and that's what's known as the slack in the trigger. When it comes back here, you've taken the slack out of it. From this point on, you build up pressure until you get what's called a surprise break. And when you get your surprise break, you're not going to jerk the weapon down or jerk it to one side or anything like that when you get your surprise break. Now, after you've done that and you received your surprise break, the weapon will of course cycle. And then what happens after that, you've held the trigger back all this time while you've done that. Now you release the trigger and let it go forward until you hear that click, and then you repeat the process. It cycles again. You release the trigger, you hear the click, and repeat the process. Also notice that I'm only using like that much of my finger to press on the trigger with. I'm not using any more than that. I'm not using this, or I'm not using this, because I want to press the trigger back. I don't want to pull the trigger back or anything like that. You want to press it straight back until you get your surprise break. Okay, that's about all I can think of for trigger press. Okay, notice. So that's what it does. It resets it. You don't want this and then that or anything like that. You want to control the trigger. Like that. Now, I'm going to demonstrate this a little bit later on at the range with live rounds in the weapon, so you'll have a real better idea of how this works after I do the range video and present it there. Okay, that's about all I can think of for trigger control right now. That's that fundamental. Let's see, 744 into this. Okay, I'm just about 8 minutes into this, so I don't really have quite enough time to do a proper demonstration of the other things I want to demonstrate. And since YouTube gives me unlimited time anyway, and I can seem to make unlimited videos here, I'll go ahead and start video number 6 and do the other things I want to do on it. Okay, that's it for video 5 here. We'll see you in video 6.